Hello everyone, myself Ujjal Baro. Welcome to my YouTube channel and to our explorations of information sources. A critical component in the landscape of knowledge acquisition. Understanding the variety and characteristics of these sources empowers us to access, evaluate, and utilize information effectively in our academic, professional, and personal lives. Today, we will delve into the fundamentals of information, its characteristics, and the diverse types of information needs. We will also explore the information transfer cycle, which illustrates how information flows from creation to utilization. Furthermore, we will examine different types of information sources from primary and secondary to tertiary. It's serving unique purposes in our quest for knowledge. By the end of these lectures, you will have a comprehensive understanding of how to identify, select, and effectively use various information sources, enhancing your ability to make informed decisions and contribute meaningfully to our field of study. So these are the content of these lectures. So first, information. So there is a one important organization, that is the Committee on Electronic Records of the International Committee on Archives, that is ICA, defined the term informations as a specific piece of recorded information generated, collected, or received in the initiations, conduct, or completions of an activity, and that comprises sufficient content of an activity and that comprises sufficient content, context, and structure to provide proof or evidence of that activity. So this diagram represents the data, information, knowledge, wisdom hierarchy. It visually illustrates how raw data can be transformed into wisdom through a series of processes. Let's discuss one by one. So first is the data. So data is the base of the pyramid. Data represents raw, unprocessed facts and figures without context. So the characteristics of data are the individual facts, figures, signals, measurements, etc. Then informations. When data is processed and organized in a meaningful way, it becomes informations. Characteristics of informations are organized, structured, categorized, useful, condensed, and calculated. Uh, the data could be transformed into the informations by adding context to the data. Creates informations. The knowledge is the informations that is further analyzed and synthesized to form knowledge. This involves understanding patterns and relationships. The characteristics of knowledge are ideas, learning, notations, concepts, synthesized, compared, thought out, discussed, etc. Then wisdom. Wisdom is the top level of the hierarchy. Wisdom involves using knowledge to make informed decisions. It represents the ability to apply knowledge effectively. The characteristics of the wisdoms are understanding, integrations, applied, reflected upon, actionable, accumulated, principles, patterns, decisions making process, etc. Transformation could be adding insight to the knowledge creates wisdom. The transformative process of data to wisdoms, I can explain it by adding context. Data is transformed into information. I have already discussed. By adding meaning, information is transformed into knowledge. Then by adding insight knowledge is transformed into wisdom. So in summary, the DIKW, that is the data, information, knowledge and wisdom hierarchy, emphasize the value additions at its level, transforming raw data into actionable wisdom through context, meaning and insight. Then the characteristics of information. First one is the timelines. Timelines means that the desired information must reach the user within the prescribed time frame. Delay usually destroys the value of information. The characteristics of timelines to be effective should also include up to date. That means the current information. Then accuracy. Accuracy is the information should be accurate. It means that information should be free from mistakes, errors, and have clarity. Accuracy also means that the information is free from bias. Many times, wrong information given to researchers may lead to wrong results in research. Then relevance. Information is said to be relevant if it answers specially for the recipient: what, why, where, when, who, and why. In other words, the information professionals should provide users the information which is useful and helps them in their desired activities. Information should be relevant both to the context and the subject. Then adequacy. Adequacy means nothing but means information must be sufficient in quantity. Information needs to be sufficient for the purpose it is generated, but just barely so. There is a lot of informations out there in the world, and as per users requirements, it is to be decided what material to ignore and what to use. It is an known fact that inadequacy of information leads to crisis, but information's overload results in chaos. Then completeness. The information which is given to a user must be complete and should meet all his needs. Incomplete information may result in chaos and thus may not provide desired outcomes for the users. Then explicitness. Information is said to be of good quality if it does not require further analysis by the recipient for carrying out their activities. That is explicitness. Then impartiality. uh, Impartial information contains no bias and has to be collected without any distorted view of the situations. Then what its cost. Information is not free. It costs money to develop and informations organizations its resources and to maintain them. For informations for be worth its cost, there must be an appropriate relationship between the cost of informations and its value to the concerned users. Then form. This is described in terms of qualitative and quantitative, numerical and graphic, summary and detailed. That is form. Then frequency. This is a measure of how often information is needed, collected or produced. Then breadth uh, is defines the scope of informations. Then the last one is origin. Informations may origins from sources inside the organizations or outside. Time horizon. Informations may be oriented towards the past, toward current event, or toward future activities and events. So these all are the characteristics of informations. Then why we need informations? In today's knowledge driven society, the need for information is more critical than ever. Information serves as the foundations for education, research, employment, entertainment, healthcare, problem solving, and lifelong learning. It is a vital resource for socio-economic development, providing countries with a competitive edge in economic, technological, and political arenas. Access to the latest scientific, technical, and commercial information enables innovations and informed decisions making, driving progress across various sectors. Okay, understanding why we need information helps us appreciate its value and motivates us to seek, evaluate, and utilize it effectively. By recognizing the role information plays in our lives, we can harness its power to enhance our knowledge, improve our skills, and contribute positively to society. These lectures will explore these concepts, highlighting the indispensable natures of information in our daily activities and long-term goals. Then, information transfer cycle. Information transfer cycle is the process of moving messages or informations from a source to a sink, that is in user, via a communication channel. Transfer of information from its generations to its end users become possible through many processes. These processes complete a cycle and regularly repeated, which is called as information transfer cycle. You can see here the information transfer cycle comprises generation, means create, then collections, storage, organize, storage, access, deliver, then use. So the diagram depicts the information transfer cycle, illustrating the stages through which information passes in a cycle process. Here, uh, let's discuss one by one. Create or generation. This test involves uh, it is given by this information transfer cycle is given by the uh, basement you can see in the slide. So create and generations, this test involves the generations of new informations or data. It can be through research, observations, experimentations, or other means. Then collect. After information is created, it needs to be gathered from various sources. This can involve compiling data from experiments, surveys, literatures, or any other relevant sources. Then organize. Once collected, the information must be organized systematically. This could involve categorizing, indexing, or structuring the data in a way that makes it easier to access and understand. Then after organize, then store. Organized information is then stored in a suitable format and locations. This can include database, digital repositories, physical filing system, or any other stored medium. Then access. Stored information needs to be accessible to those who need it. This involves providing appropriate mechanisms for retrieval, which can include search functions, access protocol, or user interface. Then deliver. Information is then delivered to the end users or stakeholders who require it. This could involve dissemination through reports, publications, digital platforms, or presentations. Then finally, use. The information is used for its intended purpose. This could be for decisions making, research, analysis, education, or any other applications. So, uh, in the conclusions, the cycle is depicted as continuous, indicating that the use of informations can lead to the creations of new informations, thereby restarting the cycle. Its test is interconnected, highlighting the flow and transformations of informations throughout its life cycle. Then information's need. Robert Taylor coined the term information needs in the year of 1962 in his article The Process of Asking Questions. Information needs is an individual's or group's desire to locate and obtain information to satisfy a conscious or unconscious needs. Murray B. Line has defined information need as what an individual ought to have for his works, his research, his educations, his recreations, etc. So information needs are closely related to the subject of interest, then the type of activity, then the level of sophistications of users, then the related to the purpose for which the information is needed at a given time. So let's discuss one by one. Uh, Closely related to the subject of interest, information need is closely related to the subject of interest. Information needs are directly tied to the subject matter the individual is interested in. For example, a researcher in environmental science will seek information related to climate change, pollution, or sustainable practice. Then the type of activity. Information needs are related to the types of activity. The nature of the activity or task at hand influences information needs. For example, the information required for writing a research paper differs from that needed for making a business decisions or planning a trip. Then levels of sophistications of user. The user's levels of expertise and familiarity with the subject matter affects their information needs. Beginners might need basics introductory information while experts may require advanced detailed data. Then uh, related to the purpose for when which the information is needed at a given time. The specific purpose or goal for seeking information at a particular moment dictates the type and the depth of information required. For instance, information needed for a quick decisions might be more concise and straightforward compared to information needed for an in-depth analysis. Then summary. In the summary, we can say that information needs are dynamic and contextual, influenced by the individual subjects of interest, the type of activity they are engaged in, their level of expertise, and the specific purpose for which they need information at a given time. Understanding these factors helps in providing the most relevant and useful information to meet the user's needs effectively. Then types of information needs. Broadly speaking, there could be possibly be two types of information needs. One relates to current awareness type of information which the user require in their respective field of specializations or study interest. The other is ad hoc information need which is required to satisfy a specific purpose. Uh, Guha has identified four types of information need with as many approaches. These are include current information needs, then exhaustive information need, everyday information needs, then catching up information needs. Uh, Current approach, current information needs. These users require current information to keep themselves abreast of the nation developments in the field of their specialization or interest. They can know through such an approach what other researchers and scientists are currently doing in their respective areas of interest. To keep them up to date, the users can participate in seminar, symposia, meetings, interactions with colleagues through emails, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., sharing of reprints, reading current journals, scanning, indexing, and abstracting journal, and so on. Then exhaustive information need. This approach is followed by the user or researchers usually at the beginning of a new work or investigations to have comprehensive detailed information about a specific topic on the field of study. Such an information need requires the researcher to scan through all the relevant information available on the subject of research or investigation. Then the everyday information need. This approach leads the users to seek some specific piece of information, say in the form of facts required in the day-to-day investigation. Such an approach towards need for information is related with the ongoing research work when the users need some data or details of some apparatus equations, etc. Such needs are satisfied through some ready reference sources such as state-of-the-art reports, research in progress, handbooks, etc. Then the catching up information needs. The user researcher here requires information pertaining to related subject fields to catch up with the latest developments in the subject in which he or she is not an expert. While searching the required literature, the researcher may come across some pertinent information which she might have missed had it not been for the accident of the search for another topic. Such catching up approach helps the users to get further stimulating ideas. These approaches to informations by the users imply explain the differential needs of different categories of user. They need different set of informations while working on a subject and while investigating another equally important problem. Similarly, one approach to information is more suitable for scientists than the engineers or the medical scientists. However, an information system attempts to assess user needs and meet them as far as possible. Then Foygot categorizations of information needs, then Krieg Das in 1983, then Whitaker in 1993. So Voigot categorized information needs into three main approaches in the year of 1959. That is the current approach, everyday approach, exhaustive approach. So current approach, this approach focuses on obtaining information that is up to date and relevant to the current needs of the user. It is typically associated with keeping abreast of new developments in a specific field or area of interest. Then everyday approach, this approach pertains to the regular and routine information needs that arise in daily life. It could includes information required for day-to-day activities and general knowledge. Then exhaustive approach, this approach involves seeking comprehensive and detailed information on a particular topic. It is often used when in-depth research or extensive understanding of a subject is needed. Then Krieg Das in 1983. Krieg Das suggested two categorizes of information needs based on their urgency, that is immediate needs, then deferred or postponed or delay needs. So immediate needs, these are urgent information needs that require prompt attention and quick access to informations. For example, include immediate problem solving or urgent decisions making scenarios. Then deferred or postponed or delayed needs, these are information needs that are recognized but can be addressed at a later time. They do not require immediate actions and can be postponed until more convenient or necessary. Then Whitaker expanded on the categorizations of information needs. First, regular needs, general needs, quick reference relating to personal problem, personal development, then research. Regular needs, these involve ongoing periodic information requirements such as current awareness services and browsing subject specific journals to stay updated. Then general needs, this pertains to general readings related to personal hobbies or interests which are not necessarily work related but contribute to overall knowledge and leisure. Then quick reference, this category includes fact finding, obtaining statistical information quickly. It involves looking up specific details or points for immediate use. Then relating to personal problems, information needs related to solving personal issues such as travel information, medical diagnosis, or finding a job. Then personal development needs focused on self-improvement and preparations for competitive exams or skill enhancement activities. Then research, information needs for conducting research subjects, writing reports, or conducting literature surveys. This involves a more detailed and structured approach to gathering information. In the conclusions, we can say that these categorizations by Poigots, Krigdas, and Whitakers provide a framework for understanding a diverse nature of information needs. They highlight the different contexts in which information is sought, from everyday activities to urgent problem solving and comprehensive research. Recognizing these categories helps in designing better information retrieval system and service that cater to various user needs effectively. Then or categorize information needs into primary functions, that is input functions and output functions. Input function is the functions involve the different types of information needs that users have when seeking information. These needs can be categorized into regular needs, episodical needs, exhaustive needs, limited needs, consultations. So first is the regular needs. These are ongoing and consistent information needs such as current awareness services. I have already discussed it. Everyday reference checks and feedbacks mechanisms. Then episodical needs. These needs are arise occasionally and are typically related to the leveraging past work or information for current purpose. For instance, using various previous research or reports to address current issues. Then exhaustive needs. This involves checking all relevant information on a specific topic, leaving no stone unturned. It's a comprehensive search for thorough understanding or extensive research purposes. Then limited needs. These needs are more focused and confined to specific criteria such as checking literature published in the last 10 years only. It involves a targeted search based on defined limits. Then consultations. This involves seeking solutions and expert opinions. User may need to consult with specialists or professionals to get the information they need. Then output function. The output functions describes the various ways in which information is used, disseminated after being obtained. These functions include informing, sharing information with others to keep them up to date or aware of specific topics or developments. Then alerting, providing alerts or notifications about new informations, developments or changes in a specific field or area of interest. Then answering, responding to specific queries or questions with relevant information or data. Then referring, directing someone to other sources of information or experts who can provide the needed information. Then teachings or instructions, using the information to educate or instruct others such as in a classroom setting or through instructional materials. Then advising or consultations, offering advice or professional consultation based on the informations obtained. This could involve giving recommendations or solutions to problems. And then last one is the requesting, seeking additional informations or resources to further understand or solve a problem. This could involve making formal requests for a specific data or materials. In the conclusions, we can or categorizations provides a structured understanding of information needs and their dual aspects. The input functions, which deals with the nature and types of information needs, and the output functions, which focuses on how the obtained information is used or shared. These frameworks help in effectively managing and fulfilling information needs in various contexts, ensuring that users receive the right type of information in the most useful form. Then IFLA recommended that is the International Federations of Library Association and Institution in the year of 2011 made recommendations to enhance the ease and efficiency of accessing information. These recommendations are aimed at ensuring that information is readily accessible and useful to users within minimal effort. The key recommendations include easy to access, easy to search database, richness of the content, affordable services, translation, So easy to access information should be easily accessible with the single click, minimizing barriers to obtaining needed data. This involves designing user-friendly interfaces and platforms where user can quickly find and retrieve information without complex navigation. Then easy to search databases. Databases should be designed to be easily searchable, allowing users to find relevant information efficiently. This includes intuitive search functionalities, effective indexing, and clear categorizations to help users locate specific information quickly. Then, richness of the content. The content available should be comprehensive and detailed, covering a wide range of topics and providing in-depth information. Rich contents ensure that users have access to high quality, valuable, and diverse information sources that meet their varied needs. Then affordable services and translation. Information services should be affordable and accessible to all users, including the provisions of translation services. This ensures that non-native speakers can access information in their preferred languages, promoting inclusivity and wider disseminations of knowledge. So, in the conclusions, the IFLA recommendations emphasize the importance of making information easily accessible and searchable, ensuring that the content is rich and comprehensive and that services are affordable and inclusive. These guidelines aim to improve the overall user experience, making it simpler for individuals to find and use the information they need effectively. Then, now let's discuss what is information sources. Information sources are nothing but these are places or materials from which we get data and knowledge. They are essential for learning, research, and making informed decisions. Types of information sources include uh, documentary sources, non-documentary sources. Later we will discuss more about different types of information sources. So let's discuss. So documentary sources. Documentary information sources are recorded materials such as books, journals, reports, and media that provide informations and evidence about a particular subject. Characteristics include recorded content information captures in a tangible form, then diverse formats include print, digital, audio, and video formats, then structured content organized systematically for easy access and retrieval. The importance of documentary sources. These are essential for preserving and disseminating knowledge. They offer reliable and verifiable information, support academic and professional research, and providing a permanent record of information that can be referenced and cited. Their structure and nature facilitates efficient information retrievals and utilizations. So, in the figure 1, depending upon their contents and organizational level, documentary sources can be grouped into primary, secondary, tertiary sources. So, what is primary information sources? Primary information sources are original, first-hand materials directly associated with their subject or event created by witnesses or first recorders. Primary information represents information in its original form. It has not been edited, interpreted, evaluated, or translated in any manner which might result in a sense from the original information. Primary sources can be present original thinking and observation such as original research used to write article reporting on original scientific studies, experiments, or observation. Characteristics include originality, I have already discussed, authenticity, time specific, etc. For example, novels, plays, lyrics, poems, originals, works of art, diaries, memories, autobiographies, speeches, government documents, legal documents, patents, surveys, polls, statistical data, technical reports, experimental research, etc. The importance of primary sources, these are crucial for providing accurate, unfiltered information and form the foundations for secondary analysis. They offer direct insight into historical events, scientific research, and creative works, enabling researchers to develop a deeper, more nuanced understanding of their subjects. Then the secondary information sources are documentary or recordings that relate, analyze, interpret, or critique primary sources. They provide second-hand accounts and insight into primary materials. Secondary information is information removed in some way from its original form. It represents restatements, interpretations, translations, or analysis of information from one or more primary sources. Example includes scholarly or popular books and articles, reference books, and textbooks. The characteristics of secondary sources: interpretative, offers analysis, commentary, or evaluations of primary sources; derivative, based on or derived from primary sources; then contextual, provide context, background, and scholarly interpretations, etc. Then examples of secondary sources are books and textbooks, dictionaries, then encyclopedias, biographies, review articles, historical studies, etc. The importance of the secondary sources, these are essential for understanding and interpreting primary data, offering scholarly analysis and broader context. They help synthesize informations, highlight significant trends, and support academic research by building on primary sources, making them accessible and meaningful for a wider audience. Then the information sources. Tertiary information sources compile and summarize information from primary and secondary sources, offering a broad overview or condensed information on a topic. These sources provide overview or general explanations in a condensed form on the topic for all kinds of users. The characteristics include summarize content, provide brief and comprehensive summaries; compilations aggregate information from multiple primary and secondary sources; then reference tools often serve as reference materials like encyclopedias and directories. The example of encyclopedia and the tertiary sources are encyclopedias, dictionaries, almanacs, bibliographies, indexes, directories, abstracts, databases, etc. Tertiary sources are crucial for providing a quick and accessible introductions to a topic. They help users gain an overview, find key information efficiently, and guide further research by directing them to primary and secondary sources. This makes them valuable starting points for research and education. Then non-documentary information sources. Non-documentary sources are those not contained in any document and include both formal and informal sources. Formal sources are research organizations, societies, industries, government departments, universities, consultants. Information Informal sources are human sources, conversations with colleagues, consultants, experts, media, etc. So the categorizations of non-documentary sources are, you can see in the figure 2. There is the institutions or organizations, humans, then mass media, then internet. So institutions or organizations, academic institution, government departments, research organizations, societies, publishing house, etc. Humans are experts, consultants, resource persons, common individuals, etc. Mass media include internet, television, radio, etc. Then internet is the digital media providing information on a wide range of topics. Uh, let's discuss one by one. Institutions, organizations, institutions and organizations provide authentic informations and can be further categorized into academic institution, research and developing organization, international organization, government, ministries, departments and agencies, exhibitions and trade fairs, learned societies and professional institutions, then publishing house, database vendor, museums and archives, libraries and information center, information analysis center, then referral center, etc. So academic institutions are universities, colleges, schools providing courses details, faculty information, student records. For example, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow, Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai, Mirabai Polytechnic, New Delhi, Delhi Public School, Noida, etc. Then research and development organization. This generate information through research, published paper, reports and monographs. Example can be National Physical Laboratory, New Delhi, Defense Research and Development Organizations, New Delhi, National Remote Sensing Center, Hyderabad, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune. Then international organizations collect, process and disseminate information at an international or regional level. These are United Nations Organizations for Economic Cooperation and Development, World Health Organization, International Atomic Energy Agency, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, European Union, African Union, etc. Then government ministries, departments and agencies provide authentic and latest data related to their activities. For example, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Home Affairs, Department of Women and Child Development, Department of Revenue, Elections Commissions of India, National Commissions on Women. Then exhibitions and trade fairs display products or skills and provide information through catalogs and brochures. For uh, example of exhibitions and trade fairs could be Concrete Show India 2014, India International Leader Fair 2014, Add Renewable Energy India Expo 2014, India International Trade Fair 2014, Jewelry and Gym Fair 2014, etc. Then learned societies and professional institutions promote academic disciplines or professions and publish valuable information. For example, Indian National Science Academy. The example of the learned societies and professional institutions could be Indian National Science Academy, American Chemical Society, Sahitya Academy, International Federations of Library Association and Institutions, Indian Library Association, Indian Association of Special Libraries and Information Centers, Delhi Library Associations, etc. Then the publishing house. Publishing house publish books, journals and other materials and provide valuable information through catalogs and database. The publishing house example could be Oxford University Press, R. R. Booker, S. W. Wilson and Co., National Book Trust, Sun and Co, etc. Then the database vendors provides access to database and services for subscriber, for example Thomson Reuters, ProQuest, IPSCO. Then the museums and archives provide historical documents and records for education and research, for example National Museum, New Delhi, National Museum of Natural History, Washington, Smithsonian Institutions, Washington, National Archives of India, National Film Archive of India, National Mission for Manuscripts India, National Archives in Washington, etc. Then libraries and information centers offer organized collection of information sources and services. For example, National Library, Kolkata, Ratan Tata Library, University of Delhi, Indian Councils of Historical Research, New Delhi. Then Information Analysis Center analyze and synthesize information in specialized fields. For example, FICCI Research and Analysis Center, New Delhi. Information Sharing and Analysis Center, National Security Database, New Delhi. Information Analysis Center, Defense Technical Information Center, United States, etc. Then Referral Center direct users to other information sources or institutions. For example, the example of the referral centers are Information and Referral Center of Greater Montreal, Canada, Terry Library, New Delhi, Referral Service, etc. So these all are comes under the institutions or organizations that are referral centers I have discussed. Then the Information Analysis Center, Libraries and Information Center, Museums and Archives, database vendors, publishing houses, then land societies and professional institutions, then exhibitions and trade fairs, and then government ministries, departments and agencies, international organizations, research and development organizations, then academic institutions. Then the second of non-documentary sources is human. So human sources provide exclusive and latest informations not recorded elsewhere. Various categories of human sources include library consultants, information brokers, expert peers, then resource persons, extension workers, then representatives of firms, then invisible colleagues, technological gatekeepers, patent attorneys, industrial license officer, common persons, etc. So, library consultants provide expert advice in specific areas to the users. Then information brokers seek answers using various resources for profit. Then expert and peers authorities in specific subject areas providing valuable insights who needs particular suggestions from the experts. Then resource person knowledgeable individuals offering training or guidance who need. Then extension worker artists users beyond normal areas of activity often in rural or specialized setting. Then representatives of farms promote products and provide technical information who needs. Then invisible college informal networks of expert exchanging ideas and information. Then technological gatekeepers key professional facilitating information transfer within organizations. Then patent attorneys legal experts on patents providing technical queries related to patents who need. Then industrial license officer establish and maintain license between industry and other entities. Then common persons provide general knowledge and first and information in between the common people. So in the humans we can include information common persons, then industrial license officer, patent attorneys, then technological gatekeepers, invisible colleagues, representatives of firms, extension workers, resource persons, expert or peers, information brokers, library consultants, etc. Then the mass media. Mass media includes press, radio, and televisions providing information to a large audience. It is a powerful means of communication. It can be includes press media, broadcasting station, So press media is newspaper and publishing houses maintaining archives of back issues, and broadcasting stations are radio and television station broadcasting news is entertainment and educational programs. For example, CNBC, NDTV, ZTV, Star TV, Aztak, etc. Then internet. The internet is a the last number is the internet. So the internet is a comprehensive sources of information on almost any subject. We everyone know about internet. We are using internet to access information. The World Wide Web provides interactive digital media offering information on numerous topics. It is accessible through various devices and offers flexibility in accessing information. So that is written in the HTML text in the web page. So in the conclusions, non-documentary sources of information includes human sources, organizations, mass media, and the internet. These sources provide valuable information not available in documentary forms. The main disadvantages of these non-documentary sources is the potential high cost and the need for sophisticated techniques to access information. Then categorizations of documentary sources. Several library and information science experts have categorized the documentary sources of information. So some experts have categorized like Sarangathan as conventional, neo-conventional, non-conventional, and meta-document. Then C.W. Hanson, primary sources, secondary sources of information. Dennis Grogan, primary, secondary, and tertiary. So let's discuss one by one. So Dr. Sarangathan, the father of library science, has classified the documentary sources of information into four categories. These categorizations reflect the chronological order of their development and are based on the physical characteristics of documents. So conventional includes books, periodicals, maps and atlases. Then new conventional includes standards, specifications, patents, data, etc. Then non-conventional includes audio visuals, microforms, then meta documents, direct created documents without any human intervention. Then C.W. Hanson, former editor of Journal of Documentations, in an article entitled Introductions to Science Information's Work published in 1971 by Eslip, divided the documentary sources of information into two uh, categories, primary and secondary, and further it is uh, in the third it is primary secondary sources of information. So primary sources, Henson was of the few that the primary documents exist of their own and usually contain original informations based on the first formulations of any new observations, experiment, ideas that I have already discussed. So Sanson explained that a monograph, an article in a journal, textbook, and encyclopedia are all primary documents. He opined uh, that although an article, an encyclopedia, or text may not contain any new information on the subject, but it presents the information in the particular form for the first time. This article concern are not condensation or rewriting in any way of an existing document, but have been specially written for the textbook or the encyclopedia. Those These are also primary sources. These sources like books, periodicals, dissertations, reports, patents, standards, trades, literature, conference, proceedings, etc. are to be included in this category. That is the primary sources according to the C.W. Hanson. Then secondary sources. The secondary publications were identified by Henson as those that presents the contents of the primary documents in a condensed form or listed them in a helpful way. This is to enable the existence of a primary document so that it can be known and access to it can be made. In this category, the sources to be included are catalogs, bibliographies, indexes, abstracts, indexings and abstracting journals, etc. Beside the above, beside these two categories, Henson also gave a third category, which is he called that primary and secondary sources of information. Some publications like the monographs, conference proceedings, theses and dissertations, etc., have the characteristics of both primary and secondary sources of information. In case of these publications, the documents that present new facts can be regarded as primary publications, and those that have the characteristics of reviews, etc., are to be regarded as secondary publications. As a result of such mixings of primary and secondary sources of information, some library and information science experts do not consider this category to be much practical utility. So these are the categorizations of according to the C.W. Hanson, that is the primary sources, secondary sources, again primary or secondary sources of information, which include both. Then Dennis Grogan, he is the famous British information scientist and educator. On the basis of level of reorganizations, classified the documents into three categories that we have discussed, that is the primary, secondary and tertiary. So according to Grogan, identifies the primary publications as those in which the author for the first time supplies evidence, describes a discovery, makes or drives a new propositions or brings forward new evidence about previous propositions. It was created at or near the time being studied, often by the people being studied. It is a fundamental authoritative document related to a subject or inquiry used in the preparations of a later derivative work. Those the primary sources of information are basic sources of new informations which have not passed through any filtering mechanisms like condensations, interpretations or evaluations, and are the original work of the author. The primary sources may include periodicals, patents, standards, research reports, dissertations and theses, reprints, trade, literatures, classic books, letters, diaries and other personal papers, photographs, interviews and transcripts, government and historical records, newspaper clippings and other original sources. There are also certain primary sources of information which remain unpublished. Very often these may be consulted for historical interests. Such materials include laboratory notebooks, memoranda, diaries, letters to and from a particular individual's company, etc. The libraries many times try to procure such type of material if it comes with in its scope of area or is relevant to its purpose. So C.W. and Dennis Grogan describe like this about the primary sources of information. Then the secondary sources, according to him, the secondary sources have been identified as documents concerning a particular subject of inquiry which is derived from or based on the study and analysis of the primary sources of information. In the secondary sources of information, the original information is selected, modified and arranged in a suitable format for the purpose of easy locations by the other. The secondary sources of information therefore provide digested informations and also serve as bibliographical key to primary sources of information. Secondary publications include textbooks, monographs, reference books, indexings and abstracting journals, review of progress literature, etc. Then the tertiary sources, according to Grogan, he called those sources the tertiary sources of information which are last to appear and mostly do not contain subject knowledge. These sources are designed to provide information about informations and so acts as a guide to the primary and secondary sources of information. The main functions of tertiary sources is to aid the users in using or accessing primary and secondary sources of information. The tertiary sources of information are bibliographies, yearbooks, directories, guides to literature, guides to organizations, list of accessions, list of research in progress, etc. So he described like this that I have discussed. So from this discussion, it is clear that eventually there is no rigid line of demarcations between primary, secondary, and tertiary sources of information. However, the categorizations of documentary sources as given by Dennis Gurgan has been found to be most acceptable and is universally prevalent. He has given a detailed account of these categories with suitable examples of each of these categories in his books entitled Science and Technology and Introductions to the Literature. So, now let's discuss characteristics of information sources. So, understanding the characteristics of information sources is essential for accessing accurate, timely, and relevant information. It helps evaluate the reliability, cost, and availability of sources, ensuring that the information used is trustworthy and appropriate for specific needs. Knowledge of formats and mediums allows for efficient management and retrieval of information catering to different preferences and requirements. These understandings aid in comprehensive research, informed decisions making, and effective information utilization for individuals and organizations. By selecting the most suitable information sources, users can optimize their research efforts and achieve their objective with confidence. So let's discuss one by one. Availability. Availability refers to the ease with which an information sources can be accessed. This can be in terms of physical access in a library, for example in a library, then digital access, for example online database, or availability of the sources itself, for example out of print books. The information that is not readily available cannot be used regardless of its quality or relevance. High availability ensures that users can access the information when they need it. Cost. Next is the cost. Cost involves the financial expenses required to access or obtain the information sources. This could include subscriptions fees or journals, purchase price for books or access fees or databases. Then currency of information. Currency refers to the timelines of the information. This includes how up to date the information is and how often it is updated. Then amount of detail, that means depth. Depth refers to the level of detail provided by the information source. It can range from broad overview to in-depth analysis. Depending on the user's needs, the required depth of information can vary. Researcher might need detailed in-depth information while a casual reader might prefer a broad overview. Then breadth of coverage. Breadth of coverage indicates the range of topics or areas covered by the information sources. A source with broad coverage is useful for gaining an overall understanding of a subject, while sources with narrow coverage provide detailed information on specific aspects. Then the reliability. Reliability pertains to the trustworthiness and accuracy of the information provided. Reliable sources are typically peer-reviewed or created by reputable authors and institutions. Reliable information is essential for making informed decisions. Unreliable sources can mislead users and results in fluid outcomes. Then format refers to the physical or digital form in which the information is presented, such as books, journals, websites, videos, etc. Different formats are suited to different types of informations and users' preferences. For example, videos might be more engaging for visual learners, while written article might be preferred for detailed study. Then medium refers to the method of delivery or the platform through which the information is accessed, such as print, digital, audio, or multimedia. The medium can affect how easily information can be accessed, shared, and utilized. Digital mediums, for instance, allow for quick searchings and easy distributions. So, uh, understanding these characteristics helps users evaluate and select the most appropriate information sources for their specific needs, ensuring the information they obtain is relevant, accurate, and useful. On the basis of information available in them, they are further classified into there are further we can give characteristics, that is a factual or analytical, then objective or subjective. So factual information is a statement that can be proved. For example, 1 plus 1 equal to 2. That is it is also information that will always remain the same no matter where you look it up. Then objective or subjectivity, I can give one example for factual or analytical. For example, reference sources, print or electronic, okay, such as dictionaries, almanacs, atlas, directories. Analytical information is an interpretations of factual information, okay. It includes interpretations or analysis of facts, often made by experts, for example books, articles, and web pages. Then objective or subjective, objective information consists of non-judgmental or balanced reporting that presents all sides of a topic, including basic facts. Example, encyclopedias or handbooks can be in books, articles, or web pages, but the source must be carefully evaluated first. Subjective information means that only one point of view is represented. It expresses opinions or judgment based on individual personal impression on a topic rather than external facts. For example, books published on basis of individuals' authors' experience, then research results of viewpoints, etc. So these are the characteristics of information sources. I have put one important definitions about the primary sources that is given by UNESCO. It is important for the perspective of UGCNet. So primary means earliest, original, and any such source is primary source of information. UNESCO defines in 1968 a primary publication as an original scientific paper describing new research techniques or apparatus. Then the types of primary sources. Let's discuss broadly about the different types of primary sources. Periodical. So periodicals are distinguished either on the basis of literary content in them or by their sponsoring institutions. The different types of periodicals I have given here, there is scholarly periodicals, trade journals, populars, and general interest periodical. So let's discuss one by one. So scholarly periodical. This category of periodicals report original research or experimentation, often in specific academic discipline. These are meant to increase knowledge in a field, give information concerning research findings, present new ideas, and to invite discussions. The targeted users are the scholarly researcher, faculty, and students. It is article written by experts in the field of and are signed. Most scholarly journals subject their articles to the peer review process prior to publications. Journals that employ the peer review processes are also referred to as referred journal. The scholarly periodicals are usually published by professionals or scholarly association, research and academic institution, etc. For example, the best example I can give you about the scholarly periodicals, that is the Indian Journal of History of Science, that is INSA, then Journal of Organic Chemistry, that is SCS, then International Journal of Research in Social Science, IGMRA, etc. Then Trade Journal. The trade journals discusses practical informations and concerns in practical industry. They contain businesses news, product information, advertising, trends in technology and law, and are targeted at the professionals in that industry or students researching that industry. Their purpose is to increase practical knowledge, information in an industry, profession, provide industry news, contacts and updates concerning the industry. The articles in trade journals are written by experts in a particular field for other experts in the same field and often include colorful illustrations and advertisement. These publications do not involve a peer review process. Trade journals are published by trade or professional association, organization, and corporate or commercial organization. I can give you a best example of trade journals. Uh, that is Foreign Trade Review, Indian Trade Journal, Publisher Weekly, PC World, Auto India, etc. Then popular and general interest periodical. This covers news, current events, hobbies, or special interest and are targeted at the general public and available to a broad audience. The article or features are usually written by a member of the editorial staff or a freelance writer. The language of the articles is mostly written for any educated audience and does not assume familiarity with the subject matter. These periodicals contain advertisement, includes many illustrations, often with large glossy photographs and graphics for an aesthetically pleasing appearance. This category does not involve a peer review process. These are usually brought out by commercial organizations or specific interest group. So I can give you a popular example of popular and general interest periodical, that are Reader's Digest, Newsweek, Time, Scientific American. So let's discuss more about periodical. Periodical published in three categories that I have already discussed, are many in number and cover almost the whole of the universe of knowledge. They are published at various intervals. Periodicals are published at various intervals. The frequency of a periodical may be daily, bi-weekly, fortnightly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, half-yearly, annual or irregular. Besides periodicity, A periodical publications also has a distinguished number for its successive volume. This is known as its volume number, and each individual issue carries an issue number. The main features of scholarly periodical is that the page numbers are consecutive throughout the volume. On the other hand, in other categories of periodicals, each issue begins with page 1. The learned periodicals generally issue title page, contents, and index when each volume is complete. These are supplied either with the last number of a volume or with the first number of the next volume. Some but not all journals are available on the internet. Some electronic journals or e-journals just give you access to the table of contents and abstracts, where other gives you access to full text of the articles. Access depends on what the institution has paid for. Then uh, let's discuss the advantages of the periodical. So as these the periodicals are published frequently, periodicals are the best sources for current information. So periodicals often contain information on the latest trends, products, research, and theories. This is the uh, advantages of periodicals. Then current events are usually discussed in periodicals long before they become the subject of a book. This is also a one important advantages of periodicals. Then periodicals are the best source for ephemeral or very specialized information, and then they are portable and easy to handle physically. Periodical exists for every field and every area of interest, providing access to a variety of hard to find informations. Due to the shorter length of periodicals article, more topics may be covered within one volume of a periodical than in one book. So these are the advantages of the periodical. So now newspaper. So a newspaper is scheduled publications that serves as a storehouse of informations containing news of current events, informative article, features, editorials, and advertising. Typically printed on inexpensive newsprint, newspapers are issued periodically, usually daily or weekly, providing an excellent means of staying informed on current events and shaping public opinion. Library information science experts view newspaper differently, okay, as primary or secondary sources depending on the article content in the newspaper. First-hand reports of events and opinion speeches are primary sources. In contrast, most news stories which are based on gathered information from various sources are secondary. So there are some criteria are there for newspaper. So that are accessibility, content is reasonably accessible to the public. This is the characteristics of the newspaper. Then periodically published at regular intervals, and currency provides up-to-date information. Then universality covers a wide range of topics. Issued every day, daily, issued every day. So these are we can further categorize newspaper according to the uh, publications. Okay, so there are daily, weekly, or fortnightly. So let's discuss one by one. Daily issued every day. For example, the Times of India, the Hindustan Time, the Hindu, the Economics Times, etc. Then weekly or fortnightly, published once a week or fortnight. For example, the New S Reporter, Union Times Today weekly, and Northeast Mail, NGO India fortnightly. The national focuses on national issues and circulates throughout the country. For example, the New York Times, the Hindustan Times, the Times of India. International has international editions. For example, the International New York Times, the Daily Telegraph, the International Herald Tribune, the Wall Street Journal Asia. Then online most printed newspaper also have online editions. For example, Times of India, the Hindu Business Standard, the New York Times, etc. Then web based only. Some newspaper are exclusively web based. For example, the Yorkshire Times, Atlantic Highlands Herald, Southport Reporter, etc. So there are some advantages are there. So let's discuss advantages of newspaper. Newspaper are less expensive than other primary information sources. It contrasts to some interest resources. Most newspaper articles have been well researched, written with reliable sources, and edited for accuracy. Newspaper are also more widely available, most convenient, and available in categories and easy to search for information. Many newspaper large metropolitan city have weekly supplements in specialized areas with more opinion-based articles and list of local events. And there are also uh, disadvantages are there regarding the newspaper. So for many users, there are some drawbacks too of newspapers as well. With newspaper, it's impossible to communicate events in real time. This is the biggest disadvantages of newspaper, as newspaper must go through the process of producing content, printing and distributing the finished paper articles. Features that were written the previous night before may be out of date by the time they reach the readers the next morning. Some newspapers can be biased depending on what kind of organizations they are owned by. The process of producing newspaper is considered a waste of paper and energy resources, as most of the papers also available online. Lastly, in today's fast word, the news is transmitted using many other faster mediums than newspaper like internet. So these are the disadvantages of newspaper. Then the technical report. A technical report is a formal document that conveys technical information clearly and accessibly. It details the results of a project in various fields of information knowledge, often for a specific audience with a particular niche. These reports are especially common in science and technology, providing current information sometimes unavailable in journal. Technical reports often background or topics like cloud computing, global warming, biodegradations, and eating disorders. They cater to specific audiences such as entrepreneurs needing industry specific data without expensive library research. Then characteristics of technical reports could be include often published before corresponding journal literature, then may contain more detailed information but less background, as readers are usually familiar with the topic, then typically not peer reviewed unless published as journal literature. Then classified content reports have limited access in the technical report, frequently use technical terminology and acronyms in the technical report. Then technical reports are valuable for providing detailed and timely research results. Then Wood Allen, for example, there are many technical reports. For example, software reliability growth models, tandem technical reports at HP Labs 1996, Big Fan algorithmic engineering towards more efficient key value systems, computer science technical reports 2013, School of Computer Science, Carnegie Mellon University, Petersburg, etc. Then the dissertations or thesis, a dissertation or thesis is an academic document that presents the author's original research and findings in support of an academic degree. It aims to demonstrate the student's competence in developing, implementing, and reporting a research project. These documents often collected by academic libraries can introduce new data, innovative methods, or new analysis, and are now commonly submitted in both printed and electronic forms. So there are difference between a dissertation and thesis. So let's discuss. People are often confused with the differences between a thesis and dissertation. Some universities consider both thesis and dissertations as similar. Even the dictionaries would define them as somewhat similar. The standard dictionary defines thesis and dissertations. A dissertation is a long formal piece of writing on a particular subject, especially for a university degree, and then a thesis is a long piece of writing based on your own ideas and research that you do as part of a university degree, especially a higher degree, that is the PhD degree. The dictionary thus defines both thesis and dissertations to be likely similar to each other, but there are broad feature distinguishes them apart. A thesis involves conducting original research. A dissertation is usually done with already existing research work, which may require the research to add own thoughts to it. Then the conference paper. A conference paper is nothing but it is a meeting where experts in specific subject fields share information through discussions, presentations, and posters. Thousands of conferences are held annually worldwide. Conference reports or proceedings provide published from of the papers presented, offering the latest research and findings by specialists. Conference papers from learned societies or associations, sometimes it is also called symposia or workshops, are often published as proceedings of conference in book formats, sometimes in multiple volumes. These papers are valuable primary information sources presenting research at an early stage before journal articles are published. Example of the conference paper: Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, India Sections F, Physical Sciences, Springers, India, New Delhi in 2014. And 57th All India Library Conference Proceeding on Knowledge Society, Innovations in Librarianship in 2012, edited by B. Ramesha, Sanjeev Datta Sharma on Sobe, N.S. Soken, B.K. Visala, Anuradha Gupta. Then proceeding of proceeding of 8 International Convention, Caliber 2011, Goa University. So these are the some example of the conference papers. Then patents. Patent is nothing but it is a government authority or license granting an exclusive right to an invention for a set period, typically allowing the patent holder to exclude others from making, using, or selling the invention. Patents protect intellectual property rights and provide unique scientific and technical information. There are different advantages are there according to WIPO. Contain informations not found in other literature. Then have a standardized format with abstract bibliographic information, descriptions, drawing, and applicant details classified according to technical fields. Provide example of industrial applicability, cover almost every field of technology. For example, A.K. Singh, N.K. Pandey, A.K. Gupta, a compositions of insulting fluid and process for the preparations thereof, granted in India on 15/6/2012. So this is a example of patent. Then standard is nothing but is a document providing rules or guidelines to achieve order in a given context. They are usually daily in commodities, communications, healthcare, transport, construction, libraries, etc. According to the British standard institutions, a standard is an agreed way of doing something, encompassing products, processes, services, or material standard ensures quality control and efficiency, enabling product and services exchange between organizations. So there are different organization providing that they provide standards. So for example, international organizations for standardization, ISO, the National Information Standards Organization, that is NISO, NISO, then Bureau of Indian Standard, BSI, etc. Okay. Then standards cover subject like computer, construction, building safety, library activities and equipment. They can be applied voluntarily or made mandatory by policies or laws, providing a reliable basis for shared expectations about products or services. This facilitates trade efficiency, interoperability, and enhances consumer protections and confidence. Standards are crucial for modern society to ensure products work as expected, maintain quality, ensure compatibility, and prevent exploitations due to lack of competitions. Okay. For example, IS 5835 colon 1970, it is for method for estimations of vitamin D in foodstuff 2010. Okay. Then IS 4579 1968 methods of measurements on television pictures tubes 2013. Then ISO 2709 colon standard for bibliography records format 2008. So these are the some example of the standards. Then trade and product bulletin. Trade and product bulletins are informational products published by manufacturers, distributors, and publishers to describe and promote various materials, products, or services. They cover a wide range of items from books and household goods to complex machinery used in research and industry. These bulletins are primary sources of information and often provide unique details not found in other literature. So the purpose of the trade and product bulletins are for describe attributes of products, materials or services, promote sales to potential customer is one important purpose. So for example, the example of trade and production product bulletins: foreign trade inquiries bulletin, Spice Board of India, then Purolite product bulletin, the Purolite Company USA, then the Phenol product information bulletin, Cell Chemical USA. So these are the some example of trade and other product bulletin. Then the other primary sources: researchers consult primary sources to find new materials or knowledge not previously reported. While often thought of as written or documentary, primary sources also include interviews, recordings, paintings, software, and web pages. Okay, so some other primary example of personal papers, then letters, personal and businesses, diaries, personal and businesses, photographs, painting, sketches, original maps. This is also comes under primary sources. Advertisement, posters, banners, memoirs, then genealogy record, personal, family, and public. This is also comes under primary sources. The news footage, news reels, video tapes, audio tapes, etc. Newspaper article written at the time of the event. This is also a primary sources. Speeches, oral histories, minutes of meetings, legal cases, treatise, statistics, surveys, opinion polls, scientific data, transcripts, records or organizations and government agencies, original works of literature, art, music, films, cartoons, postcard, posters, objects and artifacts relating the time period, software, email archives, web documents. These are all comes under the primary sources. Okay. So primary sources allows researcher to get as close as possible to actual events or time periods, providing unique individual viewpoints. Many primary sources